All right, folks, welcome back to Guitar Radio Show. Our next guest returns to us. Last time he was with us was like January of 2016. And he has a new record out, and this record is rough, it's ready, it's intense. The playing on here is just so gritty and raw, and I love it. It's got everything you want. If you're a blues fan and you like blues rock and if you like it ripping and raw, this is the record for you. The record's called Holy Sinners and Sinful Saints. And please welcome back to Guitar Radio Show, Mr. David Moore. How are you, sir?
Great. Thank you so much for the opportunity to be here, because the reality is that we can practice all day long, okay, and we can play a million of shows, and we cannot do it without you guys. I mean, you guys are one of the most important tools. I mean, thanks God for the gift of music, number one, of course.
Yes.
But after that, I always like to consider that and appreciate all the people involved in the success of an album, okay? And I would say number one is the media, man, you guys. Without you guys, we cannot do it, you know?
Well, without the music, there'd be no reason for us. So,
Yeah.
so it's reciprocal. It totally is very reciprocal.
Yes. I have said this in many interviews. I mean, I don't want to be repetitive, but music is like the human body, you know. I depend on my hands to play the guitar, but I need my legs to get on the stage, and sometimes we all want to be the one at front, okay, and it's so many other people that is super important as well, that they play under the table, you know, behind the curtain, like some of the producers, peer agents, and even some of the session players, man, you know.
Oh yeah, for sure. So this album came out in May of 2025. So why was it such a long time between records?
Well, this album has a lot of obstacles, man. First of all, is a little bit of this. It's about money. To make a long story short, it's about money, okay? Because the way I do it is still very obsolete and archaic, man. You know, I don't do it at home with a computer. I respect everyone, and whatever you want to do is okay if it works for them, you know, but it's just the tone I chase, and it's very expensive to do it that way. To find the boards is less and less neat boards, and that's what I like it. Okay, I think that the last three records, they were done on a neat board, okay, from the 70s. So I chase actually the equipment from that era, and only the tone from the era. And so that was an obstacle. Studios that they were closing, the engineers that they know how to use that technique are no longer around. Some of they pass away, some of they move out of town. And then COVID, man, you know?
Yeah.
Because the album started before COVID. I went to this cottage, tiny little cabin, man, in Mendocino, on a cliff, man. It's very magic. The phone doesn't work, there's no Wi-Fi, a lot of wildlife, and a lot of time to reflect, okay, and to discharge from all this garbage, man, you know, of frequencies. And so anyway, I started writing there. I wrote the first one was "Let Me Take You Home," and I wrote the first riff, and all of a sudden, then it's very difficult, man, to get this type of music, okay? Every song has 10,000 riffs, okay? One riff to enter the chorus and another riff to intercede with the next part, okay? And it's so many parts that it's not like, yeah, I can hire two guys to play blues like this, okay? And we go to a 4-hour show, but this is different, man, and to play it right and to have the right dynamics. So finally I got my ex-bass player that we were touring, okay? We were touring in the South. When I mean the South, it was Chile, Brazil, Argentina, those places. So he moved. I believe he's in Ohio now. And then we found Marshall St. Clair. And Marshall is very neat guy. He's a banker, so that's accounting. Is actually, it was kind of irritating, man, because I like to play. Okay, I like to play, and I show it to you, and let's figure it out as we play. And Marshall will stop me every 3 seconds. Okay, in every riff, he will stop and say, "Let me see that." Okay, with a pen in his hand, he plays with a pen. Okay, not with a pen, but with a pen in his hand in the studio, and he goes, "Let me write that." I go, "Oh man, we're gonna stop every 5 seconds, man," you know. But anyway, so and then Kobe. And we have a million of obstacles. We start the record at Masal, Prairie Sun Studio, Shrapnel Records home, Mike Bernie, and a bunch of artists that I don't think is right for me to mention without permission, that all the people from Shrapnel Records, you're a shredder, you know what I'm talking about. So, we laid track. It was brutal, man. It was brutal because we did 14 tracks in 2 days. Okay.
Wow.
Long sessions, man. I mean, I can play the guitar forever. The vocals is a different story for me. Okay. But yes, I have a lot of endurance in the studio, and I push the guys a lot. I think that is an art. I'm not trying to brag. Again, I thank God for the knowledge and the experience and the wisdom and whatever it is that I have, that I'm capable to do that. And there are other things that I could not do your job, for example. Okay, I'm really bad with the computer and all those things. But somehow this is my cup of tea, and I got this ability to know which song I'm gonna do first, because I know when they're gonna crash. Okay. And so I normally try to nail the ones with more difficult first, okay, and leave the shuffles and do the stuff for the end of the night, because I know that they're gonna be worn out. But so we did 2 sessions, pretty on Sam. Normally the way I do it is I write the songs and with a very old rhythm machine that I have from Boss, and I give the drummer my idea of the beat. Okay, this is what I think, and on the BPMs, I want the speed. Is that the speed I want? I don't want him to change that. Then the rest is he can add whatever he wants. But and then we get in the studio, in a rehearsal studio, for 3 days only. Many much. And if you hear the album, it has so many parts. Okay, and so 3 days only, and the day number 4 we go into the studio like that. Okay, hot. Okay, with no break, because if you take a break, you kind of you lost the vibe. And then what happened in prison? One thing that does, we have an issue with the engineer, I think, because at some point, I mean, I don't know. This is guitar show, so I'm assuming that your listeners are into guitar and they understand if I get technical. And there are some shows that I don't want to get technical, but I assume that I can do that here. Yeah,
this is what it's all about.
Yeah, sometimes when I work really fast in the studio, man. I know exactly what I want at the moment, and sometimes I say, let's take it from there. And rather than to find a location, the guy will do a duplicate track just to do it fast, because that's easy. He probably does Control D and it duplicates the track, or whatever he does. But then when you look at it, you have a bunch of tracks from the same parts, and I go, which one is the one I want? Okay, and it wasn't very neat, the word. So I go, you know what, I want a different engineer to do the dubs, okay, and the vocals and all that. And I had no better idea that try for first time 3 mics on each amp, okay, rather than 2. I already know my song on that, but somehow I thought that if I do use certain mics, man, you know, from Neve 2 or the U7, I think it is, okay? Far away from each amp, and I wanted to experiment something else with a third amp on each amp, and I used 4. Can you imagine? 4 amps times 3, okay? So that's 12 tracks, but I could hear the Rhone, the river of the Rhone. Okay, it was overtaking the focus of the sound of the speaker. Okay, so I decided to walk away, man, and that created a little bit of tension. So I went to what's the name? Very famous studio here in San Francisco, man. High Street Studios. I can't believe I can remember my own studio, man. I'm getting younger. High Street Studios. Are you familiar with that place?
Yes.
Wow, dude. Well, they have another Neve 1073 that it was used. The original, the first board I used, it was from Pete Townsend, okay, from The Who, okay? That it belongs to a guy named Muka Remick that's the one used by Shrapnel Records in Cotari, California, okay? And state-of-the-art gear, man. You know, I use my amps, okay? I think I borrow an Eric Gills 2-rack in Sign of the Tracks, okay? That but anyway, I went to I have an interview with the manager at High Street Studios, and I booked a session. I can't remember how many days it was, and I like to put my hands on the board, man. So I own myself. I know who I am, and I know it can be very difficult because engineers don't like that. They have their ego, you know, and they know how to do it, and they probably do it. I know, not probably, they do it every day, and they have their way to do it, okay? The 57 on a certain position, okay, and the Roger in a certain position, and that's what it worked for them in all the records, and they want you to sound with their sound, okay? But I don't believe in clarity because it's not hip hop, man. It's rock and roll music, you know. So I look for that muddiness that I hear on 1969 with Led Zeppelin, on Humble Pie, on what was the name of this guy? Paul Kossoff, man. Even if he's a Les Paul player, but it's a muddiness there, man. You know, from the tape, okay, and the distance. Because back on those days, I don't even know how the app worked because I don't get into that, but I know you can buy an app now, even on the guitar processor, that you can adjust. It's a fake app, but you see, I want this sounded like this mic at this distance and this. You can do all that now, but I do it for real, okay? So High Street Studios, man, nice board. I let the engineer do his job first, and then I go, that's it, or that's the sound you're gonna get, okay, let me do this. I use the EQ of the board, okay? And some guys, they go, wow, why he does that? Yes, I do turn the echo of the board. Someone they say, oh, that's do it on the mix. No, man, the way it is, let's build it the way it is. You can make it sound better on the mix, but from the beginning, be sure you get that tone, okay? I don't want you to invent a tone. I want you to capture my tone, and pretty much I use the amps that I use live, okay? Right. So it's not like I use a little amp to fake the sound, okay, or any Kemper or anything like that, okay? Yes, I use Vibrokins, Super Reavers, a Marshall, and this thing, man, that are only 50 is a Doug Sewell hand wire, Paul Reed Smith, no PRS, okay?
It's not a PRS?
It's a Paul Reed Smith, it's different.
Oh, it is a PRS, okay.
Yeah, well, it's a Doug Sewell. It was a prototype that Doug Sewell did for PRS. He made 50 prototypes, and I got one of 50s, man. And this thing, I no longer use it live. I take it to the studio, you know, and it was I heard that Sewell borrowed the 1968 Marshall from Eric Johnson. They pulled it apart. They saw what it wasn't there, and they made these 50-watt heads that I use with 212 vintage series, okay, on a an angle, a small angle cabinet. I think it's called 1966. You know
Yeah.
which one it is.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay,
I remember that. Yeah.
it came. Look, I mean, it came from. It was the Marshall 2553 that it was the small head Jubilee. Remember?
Yes.
It was like a 2550, but it's
Mhm.
smaller. Okay, they made it only 1 year. Okay,
Right.
then on 58 they make a few on black color, and I somehow I scored one like 20 years ago. I still have it, man. I got it for $150,
Oh
man.
my God.
Yes. Yes, man. When I saw it, I called the guy. I said, I'm going to rent all my equipment. I met you on the street right now. you know?
That's insane. That's
Yeah.
insane. Oh my
Hey,
God.
that's how it is, man.
So for the record, you used your Marshall, that PRS. You used the Vibro King as well.
Vibro King is the. I don't know if I should say all this, man. This is my recipe, okay?
Nah, it's all right. They don't
Okay.
have your fingers.
The Vibro King is the main voice to me, okay? It's
Yeah.
not enough for everybody. If you make a mistake, you're screwed on the Vibro King. It's not gonna help you in any way, okay?
Nowhere to hide.
No, you cannot cheat on that app. It's so
Yeah.
clear and in your face, man. And it doesn't sag like a Super River,
Right.
okay? So every mistake that you make on your picking, okay, is gonna show up. And you had to pick really hard. That I had no problem with that because uh, I don't. I think I cannot play soft, okay, even if I want, okay. Uh, I never play jazz, you know, I mean now lately it's like a few things like depends on what you consider soft, okay. But
Hmm.
if you give me, I don't know, a 335 with number 9 strings, you know, I will struggle with that, you know. So the Vibro King is a good fit for me. So yeah, it's the Vibro King number one, and the Marshall almost is almost always there. Sometimes I switch the head in the same cab for this, okay? And the Super River is the one that creates the softness because I have a 68 Super AV 763 circuit, okay? And it's slang. It has this. I use the word slang, man. I don't know how to say it. It has more sagging than the Vibro King or Blackface. Somehow the
Hmm.
68 is softer. Okay, it's more like it sounds more like Albert Collins. Okay, with the Dual Showman or Freddie King. You know, it's softer, man. And so when I went to high, I already learned the lesson. I said, I'm going to upset this engineer because there are no more need boards in the area. So I'm going to be humble and I'm going to use 2 mics on each arm, okay? And of course, the room mic, okay? And so I went there and I did the guitars. In the original tracking, I use one amp, okay, just to test the engineer because I want to see if I'm gonna continue working with that person or not by letting him track my amp and see what kind of tone. I let him in the on that take. I don't get involved on the tone, okay. I say just want to see how he works, and I let him do it his way. And so I had the original track of the guitar, but I wanted to. This album is has way more work, a bigger budget too, and more guitars. Okay, so I did most of the overdubs. of the guitars, no overdubs. It's almost no overdub, okay, what people call overdub. I mean, what I mean is tracking the guitar, the rhythm guitars. That's what I mean. Okay, so I did most of the rhythm guitars at height, and it was an amazing experience, man, because I like to work at night and completely alone. Okay, I'm very shy, and I can performing. I don't know how I do it. It's like a different mode. It's a different guy, you know. But in the studio, I don't like somebody watching me, you know.
Mhm.
I like to be alone, completely alone with the engineer, and I know even the band. Once the band did the bass and drum work, I wanted to go, you know, and then. It was like sometimes like 3, 4 o'clock in the morning, man. And I will go to the kitchen, okay, to get a cup of tea, and, I will walk in the studio by myself. And there was the Extremis by Joe Satriani, Platinum Records of Creedence Clearwater Revival, and Santana, Aretha Franklin, John Lee Hooker, and it was like a dream, man. You know, I go, wow, dude, look at this, the history of this place, man. Janis Joplin, you know. What is the name of this band? I'm not very into this. The Jerry Garcia, man, you know.
Oh, the Grateful Dead.
Grateful Dead, yes. I mean, you know, I'm in San Francisco, man. So here it is. I better don't say a word at all because they're gonna crucify me. But it's not the type of. I appreciate it's good. They were really good, man, on what they do. But it's not the type of heavy rock that or heavy blues that I like it. You know.
Right, right.
You
Well,
know.
I got to tell you, the playing on here is you definitely leveled up from what you've done in the past. What you've done in the past was always really good, and it was really precise and full of mojo. But this time around, there's a different level of confidence, a different vibe
Wow.
entirely to this.
Wow.
It's stronger. It's heavier. Uh, it's the clarity, like you said, with the Vibro King, you really there's nowhere to hide. So it's really phenomenal. I mean, the 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 work you're doing with the wah, the work you're doing with the vibe, that all of
Purify.
it,
Wow. Wow. Wow.
it's so great. So I have to ask, what was the vibe? I'm sorry, what was the wah that you used on the record?
Well, I own a 1968 Crybaby, man, that it makes a lot of noise. So that thing can be really challenging sometimes.
Right.
Okay, it has better heights and it's very long. I like a long wah, the box
Yeah,
is
me
so
too.
short,
Yeah,
So
nice, sweet. Yeah.
yeah, so you can have all this range. I don't mind, man.
Right.
And then I don't know if I should say it, man, because I use a signature wah for another artist. So I don't know if you're allowed to do
That,
that
of
or not.
course, absolutely. Yeah, go ahead.
Well, I think that I tried the Body Guy. It's kind of thick. I like it.
Yeah.
I use a lot the Joe Bonamassa version, man. Because it has a deeper tone on the top, and the high are not so achy. The regular Crybaby you can buy at Guitar Center. Okay, that is like,
Right.
it has a really good range. Okay, and this nice swap, and I think I really like. I haven't tried many other WAVs,
Yeah.
but I don't know what is many for some people. I probably tried 20, but I have heard people like I don't know, Philip Size is like 100, man, and so yes, so I have a few,
Yeah.
um, but yeah, man, it's an honor for me, man, to talk to you because the album was released on the 30th. I've been reviewed from guys that I can tell that all what they do is copy and paste of information, and they write things about. Yeah, man, it's kind of scary. They
Yeah.
write things about me that that are completely non-real, man. I don't know where they get it. Like, this guy wrote that the word insanity was about my relationship with the guitar, you know, or that it was recorded in a certain way that I don't know where they get it, but and most of these guys are writers that they volunteer for a certain editor, okay, for a magazine, okay. But this is not people that they write exclusively about music, okay. Now, when I'm talking to you, I know I'm talking to an expert on guitar, a guitar player, a guy that knows sounds, a guy that understands every word of what I'm saying when it comes to tone, and it's different, man. You see, it's more relaxed. You know,
Yeah.
I'm not worried about what you're going to interpret. I know you understand what I'm saying.
Oh yeah, for
You
sure.
know,
And the same thing with everybody in the audience. I mean, everybody who listens to this show, they're just I'm just the person with the microphone. I'm just like all of them. Everybody who listens to the show is just like me. We're all people that love the instrument so much and love what players do and want to have a better understanding of that level of expression. You know?
mm-hmm.
And that's where it's all that's what it's all about. So yeah, you can literally sit here, we can all sit here together and talk about, oh, that wah was, and everybody has the different words to explain. Oh, that wah was chewy. Oh, that wah had a beautiful sweep. Oh, that wah, it's a language that we have,
Yes.
you know.
Yeah. You're right. It belongs to
So
us
yeah,
only, man.
somebody who is adjacent of that, who is a writer for maybe a whole bunch of other things, they're not going to have that. They don't have that connection often.
Yes.
I've experienced that too. Yeah.
Yeah. And it's a lot of bad, but you know what, man? Is I'm very thankful with the opportunity to be able to spread the word in all ways because
Hmm.
it's a way to preach to other people. Okay.
Yeah, for sure.
So
So I have a question about a song.
yeah.
The track "Bleeding Heart."
Oh wow.
So when was that written?
Oh
And what was it like tracking that song? Because that song is, to me, the essence of this entire project.
wow, man. It's very bizarre. You know what? I feel chills. You asked me for that because it's a very personal thing, man. And I want to try to say it without getting emotional about this, but uh, I left when I was very young, and music is an amazing force, man. That I got really sucked into that,
Yeah.
it was like a witchcraft, and how much I was willing to give up for this piece of wood with wires, and how much I was willing to leave behind. And I know this is gonna sound brutal for a lot of people, okay? But I didn't have the chance to, oh, oh man, I didn't have the chance to say, let's go fast on this one, to buy to my dad, okay? And somebody called me when I was on the way to a show, okay? And it's very hard, man. You got to perform, and it's like you got this call 10 minutes ago. I'm not laughing about it. It's just my way to react to stress, and you do it. You do it anyway, and it's a time for everything. A time to laugh and a time to cry, okay? A time for war and a time to peace, for peace, and that was not the time for me to cry. I'm a performer and a professional entertainer, and that's what I at the times where you need to wear the mask. Now it's a matter of how you feel, okay? And and then 10 years later, the same, dude, and it happened with my mom. And I couldn't go, and I lack me myself. As a child, I wasn't very good. I still not very good talking, but I was very shy, and I would communicate I think the guitar opened a lot of doors for me in communication. Okay, I started to feel more confident about myself. I was ultra skinny, man. Okay, with a huge nose, and I would not be able to talk to a girl. And all of a sudden, with the guitar, I go, oh wow, look at you're around me now, you know, and so it was a way to talk to myself, and I locked me for 3 days without talking to anybody, and 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 that was how I wrote Bleeding Heart. Okay, so sometimes when I'm on the stage, I say, okay, how it happens, how the what the song, because it's instrumental, so it was my way to say it with the guitar. Okay, this pain I felt and these emotions that I need to release, and I could not say it with words, or I cannot express it to anyone. I don't think that it was pain is something that sometimes people deny pains. It is a need to feel pain in order to convert pain into happiness. Okay, and otherwise you can't resolve that emotion, and it was no other option. I am sober, I don't drink. Okay, and no, I wasn't gonna go out of the house crying and looking for other people to transfer my emotions to them. Okay, or to hide it. And once again, man, there it was, this 8 years old little boy. Okay, or maybe younger, who knows. My mom bought me the first white Strat, and it was that was my way to connect, man. You know, wherever she was, and it was that's all the guitar, God, and myself, and that's how the song came up. 3 days,
It's beautiful.
you know.
It's a beautiful song. It's a song that kind of reaches inside and pulls you in. It's beautiful.
Thank you, man, and it's it's an amazing experience to play with the band live
I
sometimes.
bet.
You
I
know, I
believe it.
can feel it. I can feel the presence. Okay, and the whole thing. You know, it's a very spiritual thing to me. You know, it's not a type of song like a, hey baby, let's drink whiskey. Now this is very personal. I uh, I I think I have a different emotional expression in every note, and it comes straight from my heart. Okay, to the Vibro King. So it's clear as water what I feel, you know?
Right. Yeah. I always say it's heart, hands, wire, and wood. That's
Yes.
what it comes down to. You know
Yes.
what I mean?
Yes.
That's what it is. It's got to be that, you know. Um, Going back to gear for a second, I was going to ask you. I asked you about the wah. I was going to ask you about your vibe. So, what are you using for a vibe? Is it just a Vibro King, or are you using a vibe pedal?
No, I don't. I mean, I wouldn't say I don't like the vibratos, the Vibro King. It has a great vibrato, yeah, but it does change the tone as the night goes by and as the hours go. In the studio is worse because sometimes it's on for 11 hours. You can imagine.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
when I go for lunch. For lunch, I turn it off sometimes, and then I call the engineer and say, turn it back on, so when I go into the room, it's ready, okay? But
Right.
still, man, 5, 6 hours, they change the tone, okay? It gets brighter.
Yeah. For sure.
So one of my favorite ones is, are you allowed to talk about brands here or no? Yes.
Absolutely. Yes.
One of my favorite one is number 65, okay, of this thing, the Ox Vibe,
Ox vibe. Okay. Cool.
okay?
Yeah. I don't know that one.
According to a guy that it does pretty good on a vibes. It's not exactly on a vibe. To me, it is what happens is it doesn't have a switch to switch between tremolo and chorus. It's a straight chorus, but it's thick. Okay, it's thick, and the original Univibe, it has a how do they call it? It's a preamp actually. Okay. So depends on where you put it, it's gonna change the signal and in a beautiful way. Okay. So yeah, this is the Univibe, and I like to use an Ecoplex. Okay. And believe it or not, sometimes I like to put the Univibe at the end. Depends. Sometimes I use two Univibes because I use a version of the Shine Univibe that I cannot pull it out of the board to show it to you. Is from Savadius. Okay, it's the funky vibe of Savadius. One of the first ones that he made back on 2015. Now he got more, I don't want to say commercial, but he got more popular, and he can make a Univibe, like one's called The Film, or he does one of every different night of Jimi Hendrix. Okay, they have 69, the 68 and all that. I'm not into that, man. Okay, I don't believe any of that. Okay, like the Stevie Ray Vaughan guitar, I own a Jeff Beck guitar, I'm guilty of that. But I'm not gonna sound like a Jeff Beck. Okay, I think it has good features and all that, but you cannot sound like Jimi Hendrix, man. He's not a vibe that it sounds like Jimi Hendrix. And so, but this is the Shine, the funky vibe is always on, okay, with the depth or the throat down, so you cannot hear the rotation. I know it's there because first I crank it, I reach the rotation I want at the time I want, okay, and then I roll back until you cannot hear the rotation. But it creates this ambience or vibe or whatever you want to call it. Okay, some people does it with a tremolo. I hear Bonamassa doing that with a super tremolo.
So you get the warble, but you don't get the whoosh.
Yes, exactly. Okay. Thank you. You see why it's good to be here with you, man.
Yes. Do you ever put the vibe before the wah-wah or always after the wah-wah?
After.
Yeah.
I know some people do that, but my order of the pedals is very different, man. Okay, and I am not trying to copy anyone. In fact, one time I walked into this venue and I saw this guy that I know, and it has the same pedals, okay, and when I see that, I go home and I dismantle my whole board, and I go, it's time for me to get back again my own sound. That's my intention, man. I mean, I love different tones from different guys, okay, but I want to create my own sound and base it on that tone that I have in my head. Of course, we born with an average of 98 gray cells, and we create 200 billions of neurological connections during the course of our life, from the time that we start looking at our fingers and moving our hands. Okay, so we create neurological connections in our brains too when we hear music, and that stays recorded, okay, on the amygdala, okay, or the hippocampus in our brain. And so that is our idea of tone, is what you hear when you was growing up, okay. So of course I fantasize with Richie Blackmore when I think about tone, and those guys that I learned to play with, you know, Sam Hendrix and Winter, okay. But anyway, I'm sidetracking now. So yeah, the order of the pedals, man, is very different. The wah is not at the beginning like most guys,
Oh yeah.
No,
Me-
it's not what I admire. Some of the guys how some people sound doing that. Okay, I know that most people do it that way, but no. I think there are different roads to Rome. Okay, to get to the same stone in different ways. Okay,
Right.
depends on the volume because how loud can you play? Of course, if you have two stacks all the way to 10, you already have an overdriven amp, okay? So whatever you put, the order of the pedals is gonna be different, okay? If you play a lot of small venues and you wanna keep your job because otherwise they're never gonna hire you again, you know? So you have to find a way to create this overdrive sound in a different way. So I use an overdrive at the end sometimes. That's very weird because nobody does it.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Yeah,
After
for me, it's always wah, and oddly enough, after that, then I do vibe, and then I do overdrive.
So wah, vibe, and overdrive.
Yes.
That's very thick, and you hear the overdrive sounds better and the wah sounds better.
Totally.
Yes, I know that, but sometimes I think all depends on how much you use that because what percentage of the song and how many songs, especially on the stage. Okay, if you play, I play a lot of small venues they are 3 to 4 hour shows. Okay, how much I use the vibe and the wah during the show. Okay,
right, not
so
a lot.
What is the main thing I want? What is the most important for me? And so yes, is one overdrive that the drive is all the way down. Okay, I just push the front end of the amp. Okay, to get that distortion at a lower volume. Okay, that is still I think I'm probably the loudest in this area, but I still play a minimum of 2 amps. Okay, so yeah, that's the wah is no at the beginning. I use a fast first.
So let me. That makes sense. So let me talk to you about a track called "Let's Get Together."
Let's get together. Yes.
Yeah. To me, that's like a. When I heard that song, I was like, "Oh, okay. This sounds like it could be the single. If this was getting played on the radio like it should be, this is the song." Am I right with that?
Yes, you are totally right. 100% right. And you know what? Is as a guitar player, I know I need to sell my product, man. And I know that that I need to be commercial. I heard that word, okay, because it seems like it is honest. It seems dishonest to me,
It's not. It's business.
Yes, you're right, man. And I didn't write the song with that intention, but everybody say the same that song because normally my songs are 10 minutes long, man. The intro is the intros of Back in Black from AC/DC, okay, 4 minutes intro before they start, you know. So anyway, but yes, it went number one, man. To make a long story short, it was number one on the first 2 weeks of, for sure, the first week after the release. Okay, I get these reports from my agent on the top 50s blues rock. That, or honestly, I love the blues, man. If I had to be alone in an island with one type of music, probably I choose that. Okay, but I'm not a blues, straight vintage blues player. That's not who I am. That's not who I want to be. Okay, it's never gonna happen. And so I'm very thankful with the Almighty, or whatever how we have a higher power we have, for the opportunity to sing my song. That's that song that you mentioned. Let's Get Together as number one. And yeah, it's very short compared to the rest. Okay, it has more poetry, I would say. Okay, and cool lyrics.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, the solo. I think it was one of the solos that I say. We were at the studio. And sometimes just to see where the solo goes, I said, "Oh, roll the tape, so I'm gonna do a solo, so we know where the solo is gonna be, okay?" And I play it only once, and that's the original solo, man. You know, so it's
That
not.
was right on the floor. You did that right on the floor.
Yeah, man, I was doing something else, and I said, "Well, the solo is since we are doing this, the solo is coming next. Oh, okay, let's put a solo here, so we have something as a reference." And I just did it, okay. And then when it was the time to do some of the older guitars, because there are two rhythm guitars on that record, I heard the solo and I say, you know what, man, it's simple, it's clear, okay, and it has a good phrasing. And
Absolutely, yeah. I was thinking to myself, it's like the song within inside the song.
yeah, you know, and at the same time, is back on the days, man, before from the other side of the river, that is officially my first record. I did have another record called 70 times 7, I think it was. And it was all shred, man, okay? But nobody likes that. Only me, and you, you know? And your listeners probably, but but it was too much shred, man. And, you know, it's hard to sell that. It's hard to book shows playing that type of music.
Mm-hmm.
So I wanted to have an album with a variety of approaches, okay?
Yeah.
Cool riffs, cool beats, you know? So, and it goes straight. I was talking to an agent once before. He said, "Man, all your songs they have long intros, okay, and it sounds like in 1972, and the radios are not gonna play this stuff, okay." So this one it has, I think it's 2 beats and it goes into the words, you know.
Yeah.
Yes,
1972. That's pretty funny.
I love that era, man. You know?
Me too. So it's interesting because, like, the record is, to me, the record is set up a little bit like a live show. You know, so the first two songs are two songs that I could definitely hear opening up the show.
Yes.
You know, that's Me and My Baby and Rock Me.
You know, I was gonna take notes, but I'm not gonna do it. I'm just gonna do a raw with you here because it's spontaneous. Yes.
Yeah,
Okay.
those tunes are great, and the guitar playing on there is great, because what I really liked about it was, I mean, from the first few bars of the first song, Me and My Baby, it's literally you're setting the tone for the rest of the record. It's like,
Wow.
okay, here I am, here it is, this is what it is. Sit down and listen. That's what I got out of that.
Wow, man, it's amazing to hear the different perspectives, you know, and but especially from this show. Your show is very special to me because I know a folk singer, and I consider myself a guitar player. Okay, I have more opportunities if I sing.
Yeah.
But you know, yeah, your show is very special to me because of that. It's a show for guitar players, man, and I love it.
Good. I'm glad. Thank you. So you said, what did you say earlier now about tracking? You track you
You was
track
mentioning
you
the
track the
order.
whole band. How long does
Yes.
it take to track the whole band?
Well, the whole band, I do it in 2 days. Brutal days. They
2
complain.
days.
Yeah, 2 days.
And what were they? 10-hour days? 12-hour days?
11.
That's brutal. You're
Yeah,
right.
but that's the art to lead your pack. You know,
Yeah.
that's the art to lead your pack, to be the pacifier, to be nurturing, to be encouraging, to be a good leader. Okay.
Yeah.
That's what I was trying to explain before. Is what do what do you feel? How they can you feel how they feel, okay? Because you can hear the tone of voice starts to change and they start to argue. So it's a moment when it's leadership, man, okay? It's leadership.
Yeah, for
Sometimes you have
sure.
to set your boundaries too,
For
you know?
sure. Yeah, that and pre-production. I mean, did you guys do a lot of were you playing a lot of these songs live before you went and recorded them?
Uh-uh.
Oh man, so the pre-production had to be tight.
It's not pre-production. We shall rehearse 3 times, okay?
Wow. So you guys just went in there and just, that's crazy to me. That's
We rehearse 3 times, okay?
I've never done that. Whenever I was going into a studio, because now that I have my own studio, now I just I just turn it on and whatever happens, happens. I don't worry about, time.
Yes, of
But when
course.
you go into a studio, you're looking at the clock and you're going, oh, yeah.
Yes.
So there was no pre-production. That blows my mind.
Yes, and that is the hardest part to work in a studio like that too. The engineer has no hurry because you're gonna pay a certain amount of money, and the slowest the better for them. Same for the owner. So and lately this generation has their favorite word, that is the word rude. I hear that word. Everything that is challenging is rude. Okay, or if you look for any type of perfection, is you're rude. Okay. So you gotta be careful because they come out after you with that. Okay. If you rush them, you are rude. Okay.
Oh, oh, wow.
Yeah, man. So yes, it's a challenge to set the boundaries with everyone.
Yeah.
That's the ability to socialize in a positive manner, man. And sometimes I can feel it. I'm super stressed out there, okay, but I don't show it.
Yeah.
Okay, unless somebody goes really out of line, okay, like the engineer decides to go to the bar for 20 minutes each time, okay, or I'm gonna say something because I'm paying for it, but
Yeah.
uh, yeah, no, we rehearsed 3 times. I record the parts on a tiny little recorder on my phone. The bass player came to I have a tiny little studio next to close to my house. Okay, and I have a tiny little studio where I had 2 working stations for Whipper Tools. One for the guitar, tiny little amp, man. I use this Yamaha TH, I don't know what, 10, okay? And that's how I show him the parts. And then it's just 3 rehearsals. And then number 4, we go there, man. I remember that,
Wow.
yeah, the bass player actually wanted to, I don't know if I should say that, but he did an amazing job, okay, first of all. But the last day, the rehearsal room, he goes, I think you should find somebody else, man. I'm afraid I'm going to make a lot of mistakes. Go, come on, man, you can do it. I know you can do it. We cannot back up at this point. The studio is already paid. And it's not cheating, man, there, because I think he used a vintage Ampeg, okay? I can't remember which one it is. It's one that it doesn't have a cover. You can see the valves,
Uh-huh.
the tubes, okay? And and uh, and his mic, it does have a line now, but the bass is mic, okay? And yes, so now the worst time it is when once I get to heights, okay, because there is when I start to stick my hands on the board and I go track by track, mic by mic, okay. So I
Uh-huh.
got one mic. First, I turn off the EQ and I play the gain. I want to see at what point of the gain is completely clean. Okay, I wanted to hear it completely clean. Then I go into the room where the mics are, and I start to look for the sweet spot. I know that the cone is always brighter. I don't like that. Okay, I don't like that because the amp is loud. So that technique that most of the studios use these days are for a Princeton River, dude. Okay, but this thing push a lot of air. You put
Yeah.
a mic on the cone, I'm gonna blow it away. Okay. you know so I record pretty loud actually,
Yeah.
but I try to get a clean sound at the same time, okay. And then once I adjust this mic, I go to the next mic on the next amp. I repeat the process on all the amps, okay? And then I go back into the board and I adjust the input, okay? And once I have all the inputs, then I mix the amps. Which amp is gonna be the leader and which amp is gonna paint that color, okay? All right, because yeah, the Vibrokin is open back, but the Marshall, it has more punch with the 30s because it's closed back and the 30s are ceramic. So I'm gonna get the definition, okay? But so let's say that the Vibrokin is on, just in case, just for your listeners, in a scale from 1 to 10, let's say that the Vibrokin is on A and I start to raise the feather of the Marshall until I start hearing the definition without dominating the tone of the Vibrokin, okay?
Right.
You know, you cannot hear the Marshall. It's there, but the Marshall doesn't dominate that Fender sound, okay? And then I look for the sagginess, okay? That is something that the Vibrokin doesn't have with the Super Reverb, okay? And I start to play with the feathers away. And then I repeat. Once I record that, I repeat all that again on the mix, man.
That makes total sense.
Yes. Now,
that makes total sense.
The pedals is the only thing that I don't improvise. I write what pedal I'm gonna use in it because the time and the money, okay? I cannot go there to check pedals, you know?
Absolutely, yeah.
So I just know, I have notes, and I go on this song, I'm gonna use this pedal, and the pedal is gonna be the drive on 11 o'clock, and the volume on 3 o'clock, and whatever, you know?
Yeah, makes sense. Makes sense. Yeah, you got to save the money where you can.
Yeah, it's very expensive, man. Everything now is expensive, and it's not record sales, man. You know, it's because it's all physical. I mean, I got Spotify pays 0.04 cents per stream. Okay, so I think I got a royalty check in the mail for $176, dude. You know. And I go, okay, $160 divided this, how many strings these are? It's a punch, okay? But it's
crazy,
nothing, dude.
It's crazy.
It's just an hour and a half of studio time.
Yeah, that's
you know?
crazy. Yeah, that's crazy. That's crazy. So are you going out on the road, or are you just doing a lot of shows in the area? What are you doing?
Well, if you mean out of the country, I haven't done it this year, okay? And
right.
I just came back for a tour that I do on the coast, and that's one of my favorite things to do because one of my it's kind of like a hobby, but I don't want people to think that I spend too much time in my hobbies because I take very short breaks during the day, okay, and very focused. And but it's swimming in open waters, okay. So I swim in the bay, I swim in the ocean, and an addict, okay, to cold water. So it promotes serotonin and reduce cortisol. Is very energizing, okay. You have a lot of dopamines. So again, I like to book shows at the coast because that's one of my favorite things to do. Stay in the hotel, swim, go to the hotel, practice, okay, go out at night. The gear is already at the club. I load I do the sound. I like to do sound check the night before, after the last band is over, 2-3 o'clock in the morning, okay. And so the next day the gear is already there. I already have a 80% of the setup, the tone and everything. So I swing, go to the hotel, practice, sleep, wake up, and go to the show, you know. And the next day, do it again. So playing on the coast is a lot of fun for me, man. You know.
Yeah.
And I just came and I straight to do my home gig, I call it, because it's good to have a regular show in one place. It's good to have regular shows in different places, okay? But the most popular venue in San Francisco, it's very hard to get a gig there, is the Saloon in North Beach, man. You know, that I inherited that gig, or I earned the gig, or I was blessed. God blessed me with that gig. I don't want to be arrogant. So by having the chance to play with a guy named Johnny Nitro, that was rhythm guitar player of Albert King. And so I was rhythm guitar player of Johnny Nitro for quite a while. And then one day Johnny wanted to be, no, I wouldn't say Johnny wanted to be, but he wanted me to be or sound like Jimmy Vaughan, okay? I love Jimmy Vaughan, man, okay? But it's not me, okay? And one night I go, oh, man, you know, it's great. It was like 8 shows a month, okay, there with him. And I went across the street to a different club and I said, what is the slowest night you have, man? And the guy say, oh, the last Saturday of the month is pretty slow. I say, I take it, okay? And I got a gig once a month, and eventually the owner of the saloon gave me a show, gave me a gig, and it grew up to be now a once a month. I'm very thankful for that. And so, and I love the venue, man. It was built on the 1890s or something like that. Okay.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
Yes, and they can. It's one of those places in San Francisco they cannot remodel. So this is the original bar, man.
Oh, wow. That's cool.
Okay? It's funny because it has this tube that it goes from the bar all the way to the street, and it's because the cowboys back on those days they will get drunk and pee right there in the bar, okay? And the pee will go straight out. It's gross. I shouldn't say that in the show.
During the gold rush, yeah.
Yes, man. Okay, and
that's cool.
It's a very busy area. A lot of tourists, you know. So you always play for a different crowd there. It's always packed, man. It's kind of like this place in Chicago.
Yeah.
I can't remember the name, man. I think that John O'Connor has a regular gig there. So
are there physical copies of this record?
Well, yes, because we had to send them to the radios, you know, so
right.
make a certain amount. But yes, do you have a physical copy of this?
I don't know.
I send you one.
You sent me? No. I don't have anything.
No, I want to do it, man.
I have nothing to play it on.
You don't own a CD player anymore.
No, well, I do have a little baby one like this.
Well, I do I do the same, man. I do a lot of YouTubes. I shoot them. I'm all vinyls. One of the two.
If people want to get a physical copy, how would they get a hold of you to get a physical copy?
Oh, if people want to do it, well, they can do it through my website. I mean, we are gonna add a new link now.
Okay.
To get it, or just go to my website, email me, and
that's davidmoore.net.
davidmoore.net. You can send a $15 money order to my PO box that is there, and I send you a CD. I can sign it as well. Okay. Good. It's very personal because in reality nobody buys physical copies these days. So I think that we send 500 copies to different radios in the US, Canada, and Europe. And I have probably around 100 with me at home, you know. And
well, folks, it's a great record. I highly recommend you check this record out. If you love really great guitar playing, this is it. It's called Holy Sinners and Sinful Saints. I want to say that again. Holy Sinners and Sinful Saints. It's a great title by David Moore. This is a great record, man. You should be very proud.
Well, thank you. You know, I mean, hearing that from you is very important because it's somebody that understands the business and the tone. So it's an honor to me, man. Okay, both things, to be here and to hear that. And yeah, I put a lot of work on the record.
You really did. You can tell.
Well, it's a lot of guitars. There are 12-string guitars that I never did that before in any other record.
Yeah.
You know, and it's a thing called Rough and Rude that is from the 40s, man. Look at this thing; it's super old.
Oh wow, beautiful.
You know, and it has a crack. Okay, so it is, and this thing has real abalone inlays and stainless steel frets from factory. Okay,
wow.
It has been with me for probably 30 years, completely original, and I do all the stuff that it sounds like a dobro. It's not a dobro. It's
wow, that's pretty cool.
Very hard to play, man. I mean, 45 minutes of practice on that thing is like 2 hours on the Stradivari. You had to earn every note, man, you know? The neck is like this. It's like a baseball bat, man, you know? And the strings, I think, are 14 or something like that. So it's very difficult to play, but it's a great exercise for your hands, you know?
Yeah. Well, it's a great record, man. I love it. And I can't thank you enough for coming on the show again.
Oh, thank you, man.
It's been too long.
Very much.
I know we talked through Facebook and stuff like that, so that's great. But this is great stuff. I love it.
Thank you, man. Thank you so very, very much. And thank you to all your listeners as well.
Yeah. Well, we're going to sign off right here, but you hold on 1 second, okay?
Sure. Yes.